Hello, my name's Jocelyn. This video is how to sing pop when you're a classical singer. Or let's say you are a classical singer and you have a pop gig and you're like, well, I don't normally sing that. How can I quickly get into the style? And there are a couple things that are dead giveaways when I hear a singer that like, oh, they're a classical singer. One is vibrato. That's probably the easiest to get rid of. So a classical singer, if I sing this scale, I would add vibrato because that's what classical singers usually do. But if you take out the vibrato, you'll get like more of an even sound, and it won't quite sound so like classical opera-y. So that's the first thing I would do. Like default, take out all vibrato. Vibrato isn't terrible in pop singing, but if you're a classical singer and you want to sound the most pop, I would just go ahead and take it out and only add it, especially if you're in like a choir or you're with a couple of singers. If you hear other singers singing with vibrato, add it where they're adding it. Don't add it all on every note. Usually you'll add it like straight tone to vibrato. That's pretty popular in pop and also musical theater. But what's also popular in pop is just straight tone. Like people like Olivia Rodrigo, Taylor Swift, they don't have vibrato. They just sing everything straight. So that's my default. Okay, two, your register. So as a female, I can speak more about female voices, but if I sing this in my head voice, again, we're like C to C. So that's with straight tone. So that tone, my soft palate is lifted quite a bit, and I'm in my head voice. Default, if you're singing pop, don't sing in your head voice, just sing in your chest voice. And if you're like, I can't sing in my chest voice, then make your head voice really small and like, as opposed to, just make everything almost like your like mouth is almost closed. That'll sound more like pop than if you make like a really big space inside your mouth and with your jaw. And chest voice takes a while to figure out. So if you're like, I don't sing in chest voice very often, but I'd like to sing pop more, like get used to singing in your chest voice. Your chest voice is like your talking voice, or there's some really specific name for it, but basically singing in your talking voice. That sounds way more pop than or a lot of times when classical singers first start singing in their chest voice, it just sounds like a yell. And what you have to do when you're singing in chest voice is you have to have the space of a classical singer in chest voice, like this note. That's like classically and vibrato-y, but as soon as you do it in chest voice, I still have like a lot of space inside my mouth, but I'm doing it in chest voice, so it sounds more like rocky, poppy than and you actually want, for this high stuff, you want like as much space as you would do. I would say like my high chest voice has as much space inside the mouth as like my high classical voice, and they're about, I don't know, maybe a fifth apart. Yeah, they're about a fifth apart. So whatever you do for your highest classical notes, do the same shape and like mouth shape space-wise. Okay, so enunciation. Enunciation when you're a classical singer is very precise. You say all your consonants and you make these round vowels that either are choral or classical, and they're very articulated and they're very specific. And then when you sing pop music is like you take a phrase and it's one run-on sentence. So instead of you take a phrase and it's one run-on sentence, it's You take a phrase and it's one run-on sentence. That's how I sing pop music. It's like, it sounds like a run-on sentence. And the more you articulate words and do T's and K's, the more you stop sounding like pop and sound like probably musical theater, but also classical, depending again on your tone. So don't enunciate so much. Be very cool and like minimal when you pronounce words. Do it like you're half mumbling, singing. Okay, so the other thing is sometimes when you're singing classical, you're like, I gotta add certain pop stylings. I would not do that at first. I would be very plain with my pop singing because I'll hear singers add things and it won't quite fit with the style and it'll sort of stick out as being really out of place. So if you're going to add any sort of extra embellishments or any stylings, make sure they're very, very appropriate. Make sure other very popular people in that style do it still, because it's also some things get a bit dated when it comes to styling, like ha ha, like that sound is a little bit dated. It's more like 90s, maybe Britney Spears type, than it is current. Current is more like very breathy and very light these days. So try to be current with the music that's being written and put out right now, not 20 years ago, not 40 years ago, unless those are the styles that you're singing. The other thing is, like, when you're in a situation where you're singing a style that you don't normally sing, be like laser ears and listen for what they're doing. Make sure you're in the vicinity of what they're doing. Even adding something like a scoop can be super appropriate or like at the wrong place. Don't add trills or runs or anything like that unless you're very, very confident in them. Finishing notes. So in classical music, if you're singing like, oh, you like end it really cleanly. You like go to the note and then you end it. But you don't have to do that as much with pop unless it's appropriate for the style. Like a lot of times in pop, you kind of fade out and you're like, oh, and you like fade to breath. It doesn't have to be these really clean endings. And a lot of times the more clean your ending is, the more it starts sounding like some other style besides pop. In general, it's intentional laziness when it comes to exiting and entering notes. And then the last thing, which is a little bit more challenging of a concept, classical singers are taught from the time they start taking lessons to like lift their soft palate, lift their soft palate. Pop singers are not taught to do that. So one of the things that you can start doing as a classical singer singing pop is to start dropping your soft palate, especially in your head voice, like as a female in your head voice, and trying not to make the inside of your mouth too big unless it's like one of these like wailing high notes. Because when you sing, if I sing this note, if I sing it classical, that's my chest voice, but it's like with a lot of space. It'll sound, that's with vibrato, it'll sound more and more like classical when you add the space and you add the vibrato. So if you sing with space and no vibrato, it sounds a little bit more pop. But if you drop your soft palate, if I let it fade to like breath, it'll just sound more and more like pop or folk or some other style besides classical, as opposed to both are fine alone, but one sounds more like classical and one sounds more pop. And the last thing I'll add is pop has a couple different types of tone that you can get away with. Classical, less so much, but one of the tones that you can get away with and is very, very popular is a breathy tone. Ho, ho. That is not really appropriate in classical music. So one of the hardest things for classical singers to start doing is transition from a pure tone to a breathy tone. Breathy. And the difference is like basically how much you're bringing your vocal cords together. You're just letting a lot more air come through from a breathy tone. That's more of an advanced technique, but also being nasal, like singing with the nasal tone in your head voice, and breathy and nasal. Singing breathy and nasal, or breathy or just nasal, those are more pop stylings that that have to be workshopped. Like you have to figure out as a classical singer how to not sing with a pure tone that bypasses the nose, but using the nose a little bit to sing nasal. But you don't want to sing too much nasal, because too much nasal starts to sound like this, and you're like, ah, this sounds like a bad pop singer, which you don't want to sound like. Okay, I hope this is helpful. It's absolutely worth figuring out in your voice if it's interesting to you to sing other styles. Like, I think it's really fun to be able to sing other styles and learn the differences between the two. If you're into this, definitely like comment, tell me it's interesting or helpful, and I'll try to do more of it. But definitely try it. Okay, good luck.